Today we're on page 55 in our notebook. You're going to title it Tell Me a Story. You're going to go ahead and pause your video so that you can set up your notebook as well as fill in your table of contents page. Your warm-up says find the rate of change. So in order for me to find the rate of change, the first thing I need to do is I need to find those patterns. But remember in my tables, anytime that I have a 0, 0, that's where I'm starting off with, so I never want to start there. So I find my points here, and I want to find my pattern. So go ahead and pause your video so that you can do your warm-up. Your learning goal says create an equation given a table or a graph. Describe what this equation represents. And then your language goal says complete a sentence identifying the independent and dependent variables. Independent and dependent. It's really important. Go ahead and take out your notes page. So we're going to start on example A. So it gives me a table here and I have to create the equation and then fill out my sentence and describe what this represents. So my equation, I'm going to start off with y is equal to something times x plus something. So if I go ahead and fill that in, all I have to do is fill in my blanks. In order for me to find my rate of change, I have to find my pattern, just like I did in my warm-up. But remember that I really only need to look at the difference between 2 points. I really don't have to go all the way through my table. I can, but not necessary. So between 3 and 11, I know I'm adding 8. Between 0 and 2, I know I'm adding 2. So go ahead and label your table as well, x and y. Remember, x in your table always goes first. And then I know that it's change in my y over my change in my x. So I know that it's 8 divided by 2. Well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So by 4 is my rate of change. That's what I just found for my table. Then if I look for my y-intercept on my table, I look where x is 0 and I look at the number that's next to it, which is 3. That is my y-intercept. Now I have my equation, I have to complete the sentence, and then after that I want to describe what this represents. So blank depends on blank. Well, I always know that y depends on x. So yards depends on the time in minutes. Now I have to describe what this represents. So I'm looking at my table and I'm kind of looking at what's going on. Well, in this instance, every time my time increases, my yards also increase. So all I'm doing is I'm telling the story that goes along with my table, what I was given. Go ahead and go to example B. Example B, this time they give me a graph, and I have to create an equation, complete the sentence, and then tell me what that graph is telling me. So again, I'm going to start with my equation. Y is equal to something times x plus something. So if you go ahead and set up your equation like that every single time, then you won't forget anything that goes in your equation. So I have to find my rate of change. So remember, I find some points on my graph, and then I create those stairs. So in this instance, I'm going down. So anytime I'm going down, I know that my rate of change should be negative. So all my stairs are going down. The next thing that I have to do is I have to find out what I'm going by. So I'm looking here, and between 0 and 1, I'm adding 1. Then I look off to this side, and between 9 and 10, I'm also adding 1. So I have 1 over 1, which just simplifies to 1. So I have negative 1x plus, and on this one, all you have to do is find out where is this line, my graph, meeting my y-intercept. And it's meeting right here at 10. So my equation should look like this. Y is equal to negative x plus 10. Keeping in mind that anytime that 1 is in front of that x, I don't actually have to write that. So I have to complete my sentence now. Blank depends on blank. Well, remember that y always depends on x. So my height of my candle depends on the number of hours. So then I have to describe what this represents. So I'm talking about a burning candle. That's my title. And so my title tells me a lot about this graph. Well, if it's a burning candle, that means that there's a fire on it. And so I know that if I look at candles and there's a fire on there, that the candle keeps going down, just like my graph represents. So as time increases, my candle height decreases. So again, I'm just telling that story that my graph represents. If you flip your paper over, you'll be on example C. Now in this one, it gives me the equation. I have to create the table and then complete the sentence, and then what would be the cost value of y when x is 4. So it gives me this equation, y is equal to 0.5x plus 4. Well, I know from yesterday, all I have to do is plug in my 2 to my x. So I'm going to start off by writing my equation. Y is equal to 0.5x plus 4. And I'm going to plug in this 2 into my x. So y is equal to 0.5 times 2 plus 4. Well, I know that 0.5 times 2 is 1 whole. And 1 plus 4 gives me 5. So my first y value is 5. Then I have to do the next one. I have y is equal to 0.5x plus 4. But this time I'm plugging in that 4 instead of the 2. So y is equal to 0.5 times 4 plus 4. Well, I'm not really sure what 0.5 times 4 is, so let's see. 0.5 times 4. Well, 4 times 5 gives me 20. 4 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. There's only one place behind the decimal, so I move over my decimal one time. So it's 2.0, or just 2. So I have 2.0, and I'm going to add 4 to that. Well, I know that 2 plus 4 will give me 6. So my y value is 6. Then I have the last one, so I have y is equal to 0.5x plus 4, but this time I'm putting that 6 in there. So y is equal to 0.5 times 6 plus 4. Again, not really sure what 0.5 times 6 is, so let's find out. Well, I know 6 times 5 gives me 30, and then I know 6 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus that 3 will give me 3. Again, there's one place after the decimal, so I move this over one time, so it's 3.0. So y is equal to 3.0 plus 4. Well, what I know is that 3 plus 4 will give me 7. So I know that this y value is 7. So now I have to complete the sentence. So I always know that y depends on x. So in this instance, there's no variable, there's no unit. And so because there's no unit, all I have to do is put y depends on x. Then you have to say, what would be the cost value of y when x is 4? Well, all I have to do is look at my table here. When x is 4, my y value is 6. What I need you to do is I need you to fold your paper over so that you can glue it into your notebook on page 55. Glue your notes onto page 55. And then all you have to do is do your practice problems. It's a front and a back. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Other than that, you can log off of your Chromebook